Hello and welcome, Pokemon fans. There are those who call me Bard Breaker, and it's time for another Sunday Pokemon Challenge run. Last week, we successfully navigated the waters of Pokemon Yellow with just a Porygon, and while never a really challenging run, it was a fun one to do though, and it gave us time to bring it down and relax for a week to allow me to focus on the 1000 sub special. We're not quite there yet, we're really close, but let's do another one this week and then we'll do the special probably next week. Today we ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon Pearl using just a CORSOLA? CORSOLA is a rock-water dual-type Pokemon from back in Generation 2 that has a base stat total of 380, which puts it on par with other Pokemon like Sableye and Delcatty. We've got decent-ish defense and special defense, but run-of-the-mill everything else. Our speed isn't great, so we may have to overlevel a bit if we want to outspeed our opponents, but we'll have to see what happens. Moveset-wise, we start with the boring Tackle-Harden combination, but we do get Bubble and Recover relatively early, and that'll help us out quite a bit. We get some great moves by level up later though. Ancient Power, Earth Power, Power Gem. There's an awful lot of powers here now that I think about it. By TM, we learn quite a bit of good moves too. Water Pulse, Ice Beam, Earthquake, Shadow Ball, Surf. The list is pretty good here. So at this point, guys, let's remember that I write the script as I go, and at this point I haven't started playing the challenge yet. Everyone make your guesses down below to please the almighty algorithm, god of the YouTube algorithm, and let me know if you think I can do this or not. I'm gonna say that we can, but our typing is going to make us weak to several gym leaders along the way. We're definitely going to have some issues, but I do think we'll be able to do this. As we get ready to begin, let's take a final look at our rules. In battle, I can only use CORSOLA. I'll need some other utility Pokemon for things like HMs along the way, but I won't be allowed to use those Pokemon in battle. I also won't be using any items in battle. Held items and items outside of battle will be allowed though. And lastly, I won't be using any cheats, glitches, or exploits, so let's begin. So we start our adventure off by rendezvousing with the local neighborhood pest at the local lake. We're ambushed by some birds and we steal someone's abandoned briefcase Pokemon to defend ourselves instead of just walking away. What is this, Birdemic? I've used the universal Pokemon randomizer to replace Piplup with CORSOLA so that we can do the whole run with it. This way our rival takes Turtwig, the hardest Pokemon for us to face. We easily defeat the birds holding us hostage though, and we soon find ourselves talking with the professor who gives us the CORSOLA we've already stolen. I nickname it Typolar, after the guy down in the comments who every week has been pleading with me to do a CORSOLA run. So I hope you like this, buddy. Ours is gentle nature, so more special defense at the expense of defense. I'm not sure how I feel about this. This is Generation 4, so we're past the physical special split now, but I still reckon most of our weaknesses are going to be special moves, so hopefully this won't be too bad. Our ability is Hustle, which boosts our attack stat by 50%, but comes with the cost of a 20% reduction in accuracy to all physical moves. Oh, that's kind of brutal. I already hate missing moves, but to have an ability that causes us to miss more is gonna be awfully rough. Fortunately, Hustle doesn't affect special moves, but most of our rock moves are physical. This is gonna be an interesting run, folks. Strap in. After being sent on Package Delivery Simulator once again, we stop and catch a Bidoof for Cut later, nicknaming it Snipticus the 26th. Long may he cut, as well as a Shinx for Strength later, nicknaming it Bicepticus the 26th. Long may he lift. We make our way into Jubilife City and immediately have a fight with our rival Tim. His Starly isn't anything spectacular, but his Turtwig is a real chip fest. Fortunately, it doesn't know any grass moves yet, or else this would have been a fight we'd absolutely lose. Fortunately, he eventually goes down and we walk away victorious in our first real battle. We quickly make our way into Orberg City, and after convincing Rourke to do his job and get back to the gym, we quickly bubble his butt right into submission. Onyx got off a hit due to its speed, and Cranidos survives a few hits thanks to it not being quad weak to water, but we were never in any real danger here. After receiving the HM for Rock Smash as our prize, we catch a Starly outside of Ravage Path for Fly later, nicknaming it Flapsity the 26th. Long may he fly, and we head on in. After coming out the other side into Floroma Town, we have our first real run-in with Team Galactic. It takes a couple of tries, and ultimately I have to equip a Pecha Berry to deal with Zubat's Toxic, but once we do that, we're able to get into the Perugly without any poisoning, and from there we can just chip down the Fat Cat while keeping ourselves in the fight with Recover. Once we defeat the Commander, we've run Team Galactic out of the Valley Windworks, much to the adulation of the locals. Shortly after our victory, we stop and catch a Buizel for Surf and Waterfall later. Even though I think we can learn both, we have a lineage to continue, nicknaming it Aquades the 26th. Long may she swim. And after making our way through Eternaforest with Cheryl, we make our way into Eterna City and head straight for the Grass Gym. Grass is one of our double weaknesses, so I'm not optimistic, and indeed our first few attempts go poorly. Not only are we double weak, but all our physical attacks have a 20% chance to miss on top of their regular accuracy. It takes a few tries, but we eventually get a run where our rock blasts hit and do enough damage that we're able to secure the victory. Granted, we are a bit overleveled here, but I expected more of a challenge on the Grass Gym. Guess I may have overestimated that. Whoops. We make our way to Hearthome City and get ambushed in the street by our rival Tim once again. Fortunately, our little piece of coral is strong enough to practically one-shot its way through his entire team. Grottle took 2 hits of ancient power, but we didn't miss and we bring him down to end the fight. After leaving town, because apparently the order of gyms is different in Pearl than it is in Platinum, we make our way to Veilstone City and take on Maylene at the fighting gym. We don't have a lot of options here since fighting resists rock, so we just go for Bubble Beam over and over. It takes a few attempts to get her to use the right attacks, but eventually a few Bubble Beams and a recover for safety get us past the fighting Pokemon. And with that, we've secured our next badge. We hike our way down to Pastoria City, where it's time for us to take on Crash Awake at the Water Gym next. Gyarados goes down to 1 Power Gem, but Quagsire takes a few hits and ends up going back and forth. Floatzel is nearly a one-shot, but eventually goes down after a couple of weak Ice Fangs. And with another quick victory, we have our next badge in hand, and the story continues to progress from here. So now the story goes to where any good Pokemon game would logically go. Bombs! We find this Team Galactic grunt just casually pissing into the trees while talking to himself about the bombs. As we give chase, as any child with a lick of common sense would do, we bump into our rival Tim once again. Although this time he's almost not worth talking about since we one-shot his entire team with Power Gem. Shortly thereafter, we meet up with Cynthia, who is now doing her best impersonation of the loot truck from PUBG, as she's already given us Cut, and is now giving us the secret potion to deal with the massive Psyducks from earlier. After shooing them away, she shows up again and sends us on yet another round of Package Delivery Simulator to deliver her locket to her grandmother. Or something, I don't know. Why is a kid delivering jewelry for this region's Pokemon champion? That would be like if Michael Phelps told some kid who came by his house on Halloween that before he could eat any of his candy, he has to deliver a can of Lemon Pledge back to his grandmother on the other side of the country. And immediately after setting out on our package run, we encounter this shiny Geodude. Holy crap. I had actually literally just turned off my recording too, since there's not a lot between here and Celestic Town, so that's why I don't have the video of the Geodude kind of sliding onto the screen at the very start of the encounter. Quite literally, just 2 encounters into the grass past those Psyducks, I found this shiny Geodude. Holy crap, that was awesome. That is just the second shiny Pokemon I've ever encountered in any of these runs thus far, excluding the red Gyaradoses in the Gen 2 games. I quickly catch it, nickname it Glamorious II, long may he gleam, and proceed on a bit happier than the run than I was before. Once I arrive in Celestic Town, I collect the Wise Glasses from the stranger in the shop. These will boost our special attacks by 10%. We also complete our Package Delivery Simulator, but to my surprise, we don't have a fight with Cyrus here. Must be another one of those differences between Pearl and Platinum. We make our way back to Hearthome City and we can finally take on the Ghost Gym. And after some math problems that wouldn't challenge a 3rd grader, we make our stand against Fantine, the Ghost Gym leader. And it's not a very hard challenge here. Drifblim goes down to a Power Gem thanks to its flying type. Mismagius hangs in the fight though a few turns and confuses us, but mostly just wants to go for Psybeam. Once we dispose of it, her Gengar is last, but goes down to a couple of Bubble Beams. After defeating the Ghost Gym, we can use Surf outside of battle, so I replace Bubble Beam and go pick up the Mystic Water. Now, not only do we have a same type attack bonus Surf, but it will also be boosted 20% by the Mystic Water. We really shouldn't have a lot of trouble with Surf anymore. Our next stop is in Cantalave City, where we're ambushed by Tim just for trying to cross the bridge. Take his team down with Power Gems though, without a lot of real issues, though the Grottle does still do significant damage to us with its quad effective grass moves. Once we clear Tim off the bridge, we're free to go to the Steel Gym. And after decimating all his cronies, we go right for Byron, and while we give his Bronzor the false sense that it can actually do something against us, a few Surfs are all we need to bring it down. Steelix is next and goes down to a Surf, and afterwards we bring down his Bastiodon with a Power Gem to break his Sturdy, that I am admittedly not sure if it has or not, and then attack it with Earth Power, which we learned earlier in the gym. Afterwards, it's time for more bombs. So as any child does when faced with a threat of bombs, we chase down Team Galactic to Lake Valor where we quickly dispatch them, and then back to Lake Verity where we also quickly dispatch them there. From those 2 lakes, we head north to Snow Point City and into the Ice Gym. And we have no real resistance as we one-shot her entire team with ease. As if that wasn't fast enough, we go to Lake Acuity and make quick work of the Galactic Commander who's holding Tim hostage, and we now fly back to Veilstone City and clear out the Galactic HQ on our way to Cyrus. And at this point, Cyrus doesn't stand much of a chance. We're slower than all 3 of his Pokemon, but they're all weak to rock, so a single Power Gem is enough to take them all down. We did get a critical hit on the Sneasel, which is nice, but I don't think it was necessary. After defeating Cyrus, we defeat another Galactic Commander and release the 3 legendary Pokemon in his lab, especially the Azelf on a shelf. Shortly thereafter, we make our customary pilgrimage up Mount Crumpet for yet another face-off against Cyrus. Didn't we just beat him 10 minutes ago? And although he's added a couple of Pokemon and made some adjustments to his team, they're all still weak to rock. I'm not sure if this was an intentional plan on Game Freak's part or an oversight. There's Geodude everywhere in this game, so even if we didn't have a CORSOLA, this wouldn't be a problem. We Power Gem our way through his entire team in one shot against everything except for Gyarados, who nearly went down to 1 anyway. Once we defeat Cyrus again, thankfully not in the distortion world for this game, we challenge Palkia to a duel. Palkia takes 3 tries to defeat, but we don't really need it, so we power gem him back to the Stone Age and proceed on as though nothing's happened. Making our way to Sunny Shore City, we take a crack at the electric gym. It's been a while since we've been in any danger for a gym match, and sure enough, we actually don't win on our first attempt. This is largely due to the fact that Volkner has a random Octillery that knows Bullet Seed, a grass move that we're 4 times weak to. We quickly rebound on our second attempt though, and just go for Surf over and over and drown his team before they can do much to us. And with that, that's all 8 gyms in the book. Nice. We are a bit over-leveled, but this was the result of just casual playthrough. I wasn't even going out of my way to battle trainers for this. At level 70, we should be in a good way for the Elite Four, so let's see what happens. We traverse Victory Road without much incident, though this Blissey is always annoying. Look at just how many power points it takes to get past her. She is rough. Finally, we get to the Pokemon League, but Tim comes jaunting in to stop us. And stop us he does. In fact, this battle is probably the hardest we've had all run thus far. He's got Brick Breaks and close combats and Leaf Storms, lots of things that we're not able to do a lot against. And he actually takes a few attempts. He is definitely not easy by any means. Eventually I settle on the tried and true strategy of just using Surf over and over and over again until we win. We finally get a run where he seems intent to keep using U-turn with his Staraptor, which allows us the openings we need to make it through. It took some good luck and we finally get to the Rapidash, but we're still not safe, though fortunately we have a bit of health left to bring the Flaming Pony down, and we finally secured our victory and can now fight the Elite Four. Everyone's favorite bug-loving Twink Aaron is out first, and as you'd expect with our moveset, we don't have a lot of trouble here. Heracross gets off a couple of Stone Edges and Drapion survives for a couple of hits, but we managed to bring down his last Pokemon. A non-bug type, mind you, without too much issue. His team is pretty different here from his team in Platinum, so I was expecting a bit more challenge from Aaron. Oh well, let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Speaking of no challenge, Bertha, the ground gym leader, is next, and as you'd probably expect, we don't have any trouble here either. Her Quagsire does big damage to us from a dig. I have yet to understand why Rock is weak to ground. But besides that and the Whiscash using an Aqua Tail, we're able to one-shot the rest of her team. Flint is next, and once again we're at a great type advantage here. Or at least we would be if his team was actually made of fire Pokemon. We do get a one-shot Surf on the Rapidash that was charging a Solar Beam, and then the Infernape goes down to 1, but does hit us really hard with a critical Thunder Punch. From there though, he doesn't have any more fire types. He's got a Steelix, a Drifblim, and a Lopunny. Steelix is an easy one-shot, and Drifblim misses Will-O-Wisp but survives a Power Gem to get healed, survive again, but then Baton Pass into Lopunny. Fortunately, we get to go again, and we take out the Lopunny on our second attack. We're not safe though, but as Drifblim comes back in to finish the fight, he just tries to burn us again with Will-O-Wisp, which he does do, but we manage to knock him out before the burn can hurt us and we win the fight. With that victory, we heal up, ether up, and we move on to the final member of the Elite Four. And unfortunately, Lucian, the Psychic Trainer, is a real thorn in our side. I cannot beat him at this level with this setup. I even dropped Recover for Shadow Ball and it's just not working. We're slower than pretty much his entire team, so it's not gonna work. This is honestly what we get for creaming the other 3 members of the Elite Four. Let's go get some other things and we'll try this again. So the first thing I go get is the Spell Tag. It's a held item that will boost ghost moves by 20%. It may give our Shadow Ball the oomph it needs here, we'll have to try and see. I also go back to Wayward Cave and get the TM for Earthquake. It's only 10 points stronger than Earth Power, but it's a physical move, so our ability Hustle will give it a boost of 50%. This may be just what we need if we can get a hit. Remember, Hustle comes at a cost of a minus 20% in accuracy. Before we can get the TM for Earthquake though, we have to get the TM for Flash and something to use it, so I catch a Bronzor, nicknaming it Flashelius the 26th. Long may they shine, and light up Wayward Cave. While bumbling through the cave, I discovered the TM for Double Team. Hopefully we don't need it, but it's also an option now. I eventually find the TM for Earthquake if we decide to go that route, and after leveling up to 90 in a vain attempt to outspeed something, we make another attempt at Lucian. And despite being 30 levels higher than his team, we are still not outspeeding his team. So we just take attempt after attempt as we continue to lose to some combination of Thunderbolt, Thunder Punch, Drain Punch, or Focus Blast. I finally and eventually get a run where I can Shadow Ball my way past the overtly French stereotype, Captain Leg Day, and Mr. Spoon Guy with enough health left so that we can use Surf on his Psychic Bell and bring it down, all while still having enough health left to deal with the dimorphized horse to finally move past Lucian and head on to the champion. And Cynthia, to no one's surprise at all, is actually quite difficult. We have to try her over and over and over again, and we don't get very far. Her Spiritomb, despite having a no-type weakness in Gen 4, is actually her least dangerous Pokemon here. We make attempt after attempt after attempt, and we're just not getting very far at all. We're slower than pretty much her entire team, and we just aren't able to take the hits that we need. After a lot of tinkering with the moveset and some trial and error, I finally settle on Earthquake, Power Gem, Surf, and Ice Beam. Spiritomb comes out first, and we hit hard with Surf as it lands a weak Silver Wind. Cynthia then goes for a full restore, which would normally give us 2 hits in a row to bring it down. We hit an Ice Beam for solid damage and queue up an Earthquake, but she then swaps into Lucario, who goes down to the Earthquake. That may have sealed her fate though, as out comes Roserade, and despite having Energy Ball that will do over 220 damage to us without a crit, she goes for Shadow Ball, and we one-shot her with Ice Beam. Gastrodon is next, and we hit a Surf, and it hits Muddy Water before going down to another Surf. Her Garchomp is next, and hits hard with Brick Break, and we one-shot it with Ice Beam. We don't have a lot of health left though, and the Milotic is next, and we hit hard with Earthquake as it fails a Mirror Coat. That allows us to get a second Earthquake in and finish it off. Last out is her weekend Spiritomb from the beginning, and one Surf brings it down, and there we go, we've finally beaten Cynthia, and you know what that means. The credits roll, we get CORSOLA into the Hall of Fame, and there you go folks, we've beaten Pokemon Pearl with just CORSOLA. Typolar, I hope you enjoyed the run. You've been asking for CORSOLA forever, so here you go, bud. And I hope the rest of you all enjoyed it too. This was a surprisingly quick and easy, for the most part, run, and I had a good time doing it. Next week though is going to be something really special. We should hit 1,000 subscribers this week, so for next weekend's Pokemon Challenge, we're going to be doing some celebrating. Next week's run is easily going to be one of the hardest that I've ever done, and dare I say, it's probably the weakest Pokemon I've ever used. Yes, I do dare say it is the weakest Pokemon I've ever used. So be sure to stay tuned for that. It was a load of fun to do. Thanks again to all who are subscribed. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you can see more like this one. Until next weekend, guys, have fun and go catch 'em all.